Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Artark, and this is a game from the new patch and one that has been requested, although I had already played it and then I saw the request, so I figured why not get the voiceover going so I can put it up sooner rather than later. Now we'll put a couple of the comments up on the screen. We have Freeze said, try Executioner Twitch with 6 Executioners for Punk, very fun, and can you try Executioner Twitch or Vex since they are currently meta right now? Now, I had seen various forms of Executioner Guardian in the previous patch. Vex wasn't used as much as it is now as the main carry, and now it's still difficult just because it's so competitive, so I tend to avoid it unless the game just starts throwing them at me. But let's jump into this one. Now, this game had thrown an Amumu and a 2-star Taric at me before the first augment came in, so I was pretty set in my head on Guardians. Then we're going to look through the first set of augments, nothing exciting there, but when I saw Expose Weakness, I thought it would be a great opportunity to do an Executioner build, as I had been seeing them a lot since the patch on Wednesday. My hope is to get an Executioner Headliner so I can get to the 6. We have Showtime, but I still don't know if it works in Hyperroll because they haven't ever fixed the tooltip, so I never know when's the optimal time to roll. My plan here is to go with mainly Guardians and then Executioners, and the reason I'm not going to the 4 Punks is I've always used Punk as just an enhancer trait. It's really just to get that cheaper roll at the beginning of every match. I haven't found the Punk bonuses to be incredibly helpful in building a team. Unless I happen to get an emblem, then I might put it on one of the rapid fires. Item choice here, a couple of different ways I could go. I could pick up the bow and plan to go into a Rage Blade, but instead I want to get a Bramble Vest onto Amumu. That really is my favorite item for Amumu. And again, trying to figure out when to roll in Showtime, I just don't think it works properly. And at this point, I'm kind of surprised that 2 little 1-star carries in the back and just a couple of Guardians in front is holding this game without a loss, even though I don't have a headliner yet. But at the moment, it seems to be working, so I'm not complaining very loudly. Especially since, as we head into the second set of augments, we still don't have a headliner. Partial Ascension isn't bad. Unified Resistance is a little bit better since I'm planning on running a Guardian frontline, and this will give them just a little bit more magic resist and armor, but we're still short a critical piece of this puzzle, and that is a headliner that is an Executioner. So that's the only way you're getting the 6, unless you happen to get an emblem. So we're in 5-2 and still on our quest for a headliner, looking for that Executioner, but haven't been too pressed about it simply because we haven't been losing. But this team that just recombobulated and ended up with pretty perfect Vex items, well, that's going to put an end to the win streak. And I just want us to all take a moment and appreciate Amumu. That sad little mummy doesn't think that he's loved, but yeah, I love you, Amumu, because you can pull stuff off like this. Because but for Amumu, this team would be done. But he is holding that front line like a champ and not allowing the back line to die, ultimately winning for us and leading the damage charts. And it is time for an item choice, and even though our backline isn't working yet per se because we don't have a headliner, the front line's doing fine, so we're going to give Amumu just a little bit more power. And once again, it's mummy time because we ain't got a headliner. We only have 3 Executioners, so we're not ticking that extra box there. Our whole backline is 1 stars. But our 2-star Amumu just holds on until nearly the very end and leads the damage charts again. And now that we are in Stage 7, we finally get our headliner. Headlining Karthus, Executioner, enter Stage Right. It is time for our final set of augments, and there's nothing really exciting in here. We roll them. 2 choices really out of this. Heroic Presence would finally give us the Pantheon that we haven't seen all game, but I'm not going to be running to 6 Guardians, so I'm not as likely to go there. I go for Cybernetic Uplink so that I make sure Our carries are going to be casting more often because they'll be getting mana a little bit quicker. Now normally I would have wanted Pantheon as part of the front line, simply because that would have triggered Punk, so I'd be getting those additional cheap rolls at the beginning of every round, adding a little bit to Twitch's power and a little bit to Pantheon's health, but it's worked out pretty well this way too. And it is time for our final component choice, and we're going to go ahead and grab the bow. That will go with the Giant's Belt, so we can end up creating a Spear of Sojin and Nashter's Tooth on Vex. We haven't ended up giving Twitch anything yet because we haven't gotten great items, but we have our 6th Executioner in Akali waiting on the bench. With the 4 Guardians, Amumu is going to be even fiercer in that front line in holding things up, while our Executioners, well, they will just keep executing. You can see that Vex is highly effective at holding things back as well, as she adds fear to keep them from coming in, but ultimately it's Karthus now leading the damage charts. It is time for an item choice, and I was really hoping for like a real damage amplifier, but we can go ahead and grab a Nashter's Tooth for Karthus, so Karthus and Vex will be buddies in the back with the same items. And we run into the person who hasn't lost a single match this game. They are running a true damage Yasuo-focused build, but Yasuo is not going to get through our little mummy, and we're going to be able to hand them their first loss. It is time for another item choice, and this was probably one of the most difficult ones in the game for me because I didn't get exactly what I wanted, but I could make use of any of this. I could add a Nashter's Tooth to Karthus or Vex and get more power. Giant Slayer is always useful, but we haven't been facing many tanky teams. I opt for Last Whisper just for the additional crit chance and damage. We also roll and finally get offered a Pantheon, but it's a little late in the game and I'd much rather have a Yorick. This team has the 3-star Vex that has been what's been holding us back, and just as Karthus tries to wipe it out, it gets the jump on us. Now there's sort of an interesting choice here, because we could get the Guardian Emblem and put it on Akali, and then end up going up to the 6 Guardians if we wanted. But I'm really now looking for more power out of the backline, since I know there's a gold 3-star Vex out there. So we're going to go ahead and hold at 4 Guardians, and then just bring in Poppy for our final champ, because she will be getting the emo bonus, which will allow her to be more effective. And Executioner fights tend to go pretty quick depending on what front line you've put together, but you're often putting out a lot of damage very quickly, so you're going to finish your fights pretty quick. And this one brings us into the top 4. Time for our final item choices of the game after we 2-star our Yorick, and for me, definitely want the Jeweled Gauntlet. Even though you're not getting the necessary benefit that comes with it, which is your abilities can critical strike, because that goes along with Executioner, what you are getting is additional critical strike chance and critical strike power. Finally, I just decide here, you know what, let's just fully itemize our AP champions and go with a second Nashter's Tooth for Vex. I don't know if they stack, but it's additional AP power, and I don't feel like it can hurt. And first up is the Emo team with the gold 3-star Vex. They've also managed to get a gold 3-star Urgot. It doesn't necessarily fit, but it does give them some mosher, so it doesn't hurt. However, this time we're a lot more prepared. Our front line is a little bit stronger, and they hold up long enough that we can get through and actually get the jump on their Vex, knocking them out of the match. And it is now down to a 1v1 against the True Damage team. Now, I have generally been avoiding True Damage, especially Yasuo-centric builds, simply because the tooltip showing him still only picking up 2% per kill. Now, they also reduced his Omnivamp, but they were supposed to increase his damage as a result, and in norms he's getting 1.5% per kill. It's supposed to be doubled in Hyper Roll. It could just be a tooltip error, but I haven't been willing to take that chance. After winning that round, the other team realizes they have one chance left, and that is to go for a gold 3-star 5 cost. They're heading for it, and my thought is, if they pull it off, they're going to win the next round, but then I can go for a gold 3-star Yorick, but they are unable to hit their Kiana, so they surrender out. Guardians and Executioners, it's a really fun build, preferably with Pantheon, so you get the benefit, but be careful because a lot of people are using it, so you might not get quite as clear sailing as we did here today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have an absolutely awesome day.